Hello again, welcome back to Art Mix. This is our series on wire sculpture. My name is Chad Campbell, and I will be your teaching artist today. Today we're going to learn how to make these wire flowers. They are made of a 6-gauge, 7-strand copper ground cable. This can be purchased at just about any hardware store, by the foot or by the spool. We will use the full cable to create the stem of the flower, and then we will separate it into the 7 strands so we can make these flowers. I have 6 different examples here today. These are have short stems just because they're examples, but we will be making much longer stems on our flowers. So I will be doing 3 of these flowers today to show you my basic techniques. From there, you can use your imagination and make the flowers look however they want. I prefer, most of the time, 5 petals, and I like these oversized stamen. I really like those jutting out of the flowers. That's kind of a star. So I'm going to show you a few basics here today. To begin this project, you will need 7-strand, 6-gauge copper ground cable. It could be a different size cable. If it's larger, it will be a little harder to bend. If it's smaller, it might not keep its shape well. This seems to be perfect for these, but you can go bigger or smaller, whatever you can find. If you have other wire that you can wrap together, that will be fine too. As long as you have at least 7 strands, I find is good for the flower. As far as tools go, we will need our needle nose pliers with a cutter. For this one, we will need a bigger cutter. Either these are side snips. You can use a cable cutter, but you will need a bigger cutter most likely, so we don't mess up the ends of our cable. We will also need a ruler. Alright, we're going to start. We are going to cut 3 pieces of the copper ground cable about a foot each. This one here I'm going to measure out and cut approximately 12 inches. This is where our bigger cutter comes in. This can be difficult with your needle nose pliers. So we'll just give this a good snip, and there we go. So we have our 3 pieces of copper ground cable. For you younger artists out there, you may need help from a parent or an older brother or sister or somebody to help you cut the wire. Now, I also have a piece of the single strand. I just cut a piece of ground cable and unraveled it, so I have some single strands to work with. So let's get started on our first one here. First of all, we're going to measure about 3 inches from the end, and we're going to cut about a 4-inch piece of this ground wire. It doesn't have to be exactly 4 inches, and you may find on the flowers you want a little more than 3 inches. I go 3 1/4, somewhere in there. Just give me enough to work with. Now, at this 3-inch mark, we're going to take this piece of wire we just cut. First of all, give it a 180-degree bend around that wire so that you can grab these ends and wrap the cable. Be careful here. The ends can get kind of sharp, so be careful not to cut your fingers. So once we get to this point, I like to squeeze this wire together here so you don't have spaces between the wraps. And then I'm going to use my pliers to pinch this down. See, I'm pinching straight down on it and kind of rolling the wire at the same time. That helps it wrap right around where it needs to be. When you get it to the end, give it a nice hard pinch. We're going to need 1 more 4-inch piece of wire for the bottom end of this so that the stem will stay together. We're going to do the exact same thing here. That one doesn't want to wrap real well. I'm going to cut this. Now there we have our stem. This is what will become our flower. So our next step is to unravel. For this one, we're going to want 6 of them out to the side and 1 right up the middle. The one in the middle will be straight. So we have these separated. We want kind of even spacing between them, and you'll want to straighten out the wire a little bit. We're going to be making this guy first. So what we're doing, first of all, is I'm going to turn the center wire into a spiral. We start with the loop, and then we'll twist it into a spiral. See how I've got that? Now I'm going to bend this down. And right in here, I'm going to grab it and give it a 90-degree bend. We want that to sit pretty much in the center of our flower. Now we're going to start on the petals. These are going to be pretty much the same thing. We start with a loop here. And then we're going to spiral it in to the middle of the flower. And then I grab it from the opposite side of the connection and just bend it up a little bit. Then we'll go to the next one. It's easiest if you go to the one next to where it's connected. So we've got number 2 going. Some of these techniques that I'll be using are a little on the advanced side if you're new to wire work. You'll just need practice, that's all. Practice makes perfect. Number 3, take your time with this. Have fun with it. If you make any strange little bends that you didn't expect, take a look at it. You may like it, and you may want to use it in your next flower. Alright, start another spiral here. Now I'm not pinching very tight here because I don't want to scar this wire. If you leave scars in the wire, it'll reflect funny. You'll be able to see them really well on this copper. Going for number 5 here. Now remember, these don't have to be exact to what I'm doing. These are just suggestions. These are basic techniques I'm teaching you here. You can use these in different combinations to make whatever kind of flowers you'd like. So we're going to twist this one around until we get close to the middle. Now we have the first of our flowers. Now, for it to sit right in a vase or in a plant or something like that, I like to put this bend in it. So when it's standing upright, you're still kind of looking at the face of the flower. I'm going to put this one in this old medicine bottle. I like to put these copper flowers into old bottles. So that's our first one. Alright, let's start on number 2 here. I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple 4-inch pieces of wire for the next one. We are measuring 3 inches, approximately 3 inches. Alright, so you're going to want to bend this around as much as you can with your fingers, and then at the end, pinch her down. Give it a nice tight pinch so it doesn't move from this point on. Once again, wrap a 4-inch piece of copper around the end of our stem. Like I said before, I like to kind of roll it as I'm pinching. That helps it go into place where it needs to be. Alright, so next we're going to start once again by unraveling the cable. Now this one we're going to have 5 petals, and we're going to have 2 oversized stamen here. Now this one, we're going to bend kind of, see how that's almost a teardrop shape? The way we do that is we grab the wire, bend it slightly one way. And then we're going to grab just below that bend and bend it straight back around. I'm going to do this one the opposite way and bend it down. So I want those kind of facing each other. This one needs to be opened up a little bit. I don't like the bend in that one. So I'm going to, see, I opened it back up. Now I'm going to grab it here. And now I'm just going to kind of bend these toward each other. Or now we're kind of going to bend these in opposite directions. See, not quite exact to the one that I showed you, but it's real close. This one's a little more simplified. Now we're going to do the same thing on the end of each of these. So each of these needs to go the same way. So we're going to bend that just a little bit one way. Grab right beside the bend and bend it in. So we'll go right around and do each one. So now we're going to make sure these are kind of the same distance apart and all going the same way. So now we are going to bend these petals toward the center. Can you kind of see how that works there? What we are going to do is grab the teardrop shape and just bend it in. Now you see how I'm twisting my entire wrist with it? I like to move the entire hand with it. If you're just trying to do it with your fingers, then you get weird little bends. This helps you stay smooth in your bending. You may have to work with it a little bit. This is the kind of thing you'll get to know over time. Anytime you're working with industrial materials, you're going to have little imperfections in them. They're not made to be pretty. You got to make them pretty. Flowers aren't flat. So now I'm going to bend these kind of up so they're at an angle. That just gives a little bit more dimension to the flower. There's our second flower, and she is a pretty one. Alright, and so now we're going to put a bend in this, into the stem here. Alright, so the last one we're going to do will be this style right here. So I have this one already wrapped and ready to be made into a flower. So we're going to separate the ends here. So this one will have 5 petals and 2 stamen. So I'm going to leave these 2 up here, and I'm going to start with the petals on this one. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to bend a circle into the end of each one, and then bend it up and over the wire next to it. So we're going to start with these circles. Alright, once we get a circle bent in there, we're going to grab that circle just in, and grab the inside of the circle just where it meets, give that a bend. So now we have a circle that kind of stands off of the end of that wire. These we're going to want to make similar size. So we have 5 circles here. Now I'm going to use my fingers for this part, because I'm going to bend these circles up and over the wire next to it. So about halfway between circle and where it meets. And just bend it like this so it goes over the wire next to it. Kind of bend these down a little bit. So we want a kind of a big sweep here. We want to make sure they'll all fit around the stamen here. This one's kind of an advanced technique, but you'll get it. Alright, so Now we have the 5 circles with the 5 petals. Now for the stamen, we're just going to go real simple on these. I'm going to do a little bit bigger circle than I did on the petals. So now I'm just straightening these out. I want these to be kind of straight. So there we go. We have the stamen, we have petals here. I guess these would be pistils down here. Now we're going to give this a little bit of a bend. This one I made a little shorter. So if you want a few of them that will kind of go well in a vase, you may want to make one a little shorter or make them all different lengths. That way they will kind of set nicely so you can see all of your work. I like to use old medicine bottles and things to put these in also. And there we have it. There's 3 good examples of copper flowers made with 6-gauge copper 7-strand ground cable. And thank you very much for joining me today. It has been a pleasure to teach you today, and I hope to see all the beautiful flowers that all of you make, and I hope to see you again at Art Mix. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Britt Sutton, and I'm the President and CEO of Art Mix. First, we want to thank you for joining us today for our online curriculum. Art Mix is an organization that transforms the lives of individuals with disabilities through the creation of art. Today, you participated in one of our community classes. Usually, these classes are in our studios and for a small fee. We sincerely hope that you'll consider making a donation to our program after watching today's classes. Please visit artmixindiana.org for more information, and we thank you for joining us.